And that's where Jim Gordon utters the advice that was given to him by Barbara. And he says, a tree grows tallest when you care for its roots.
Yes, I guess that's why my dad doesn't love me, right? I could never come up with shit like that. You see this face? This is a face that's meant to represent many things. Number one, obviously being my lack of talent. I tried my best. Okay, this one, it took me like 2 hours to draw. The second thing being, it's the face of someone who hasn't read Apple Batman for 3 months now. Why? You asked, I haven't done that? Well, number one, being I'm a dumbass. Because I was trying to save it for when I make YouTube videos. But now, by bringing my happy ass face tag, what's up? This is the main default face. I'm that start to react to Absolute Batman. Issue 17. This is it. Yeah. I don't wanna be Absolute Batman lorper. I wanna actually catch up. Go watch Comics Explains actual video. This video is gonna be in the description. And yeah, let's react.
Absolute Batman just keeps getting better and better. And Absolute Poison Ivy, I don't think I've ever loved the character of Pamela Isley more than I love her in this story. Outside of Batman,
he's hyping it out.
So, my God! Is this opens up with the fight between Batman and Poison Ivy.
Here we go.
And one of the things to keep in mind here that we actually learned in the last video is there's a few things at play. Number one, there were cops in here, and they were using an augmented mobile ultrasonic camera.
Oh, yes, this is what a good YouTuber does. He's recapping for like people who haven't been caught up. My dumbass just started yapping. Yes, this like should go watch the actual video, not my reaction.
Essentially, a sound cannon that could break apart cells. But of course, these cops were
please only by the way. I'm gonna stop pausing.
By Poison Ivy and turn into agents for her, essentially. The other thing she was able to do is
like zombies.
grow versions of herself.
But
she's a lot
zombies.
more
Great creativity there,
than we're traditionally used to. And so that's what she tells Batman, right? Do not fight. There is no...
If you think about Poison Ivy has domain expansion, like if you really, she would be Hanami in a fight. I mean, that's a given because she's a comic character, but she would be Hanami in a fight.
Of course, Batman's also talking to Alfred at the same time. He's got him in his ears, right? And Alfred says, the density of the spores...
Bro, what does Alfred use to call Batman? Is he using Skype or something? Every single time he's in a call, his voice is lagging, cutting out. So the biggest thing is he just stop talking. It's terrible, bro. Use Discord.
Moments before you're compromised. Your genetics will be hers to reshape. And that's what Batman just says.
Batman won't come off.
Now, we saw that video. And in fact, you guys pointed out something that I got wrong. I thought he took his mask off. It actually turns out it was yanked off of his face.
Vs. Zombies.
That was essentially what happened
in that
moment, which is why he
I saw plans.
It's the only thing protecting him. Because keep in mind that with these kind of spores,
what is his cow made out of? Is it just cloth?
In this location,
well, bitch, kind of for the face that
DNA, and then she will be able to control it. Now, this is a complete and total reference to the idea of the green in DC Comics. For those of you guys who don't know what that means, the green is an amazing concept. Traditionally, it's associated with Swamp Thing, and only in the last decade, maybe decade and a half, did it get rolled over into Poison Ivy. But the idea is that where Swamp Thing,
isn't Swamp Thing supposed to be like one of the greatest comics ever written? I could react to that. If you guys will see that, like the video. I don't even know that made a video on that.
So effectively, all living plant matter that exists in the world, Poison Ivy is able to do the same thing. But what Scott Snyder is doing...
Do you think Poison Ivy would kill vegetarians? I think she would.
Taking that concept and then reworking it and simply saying, so long as she's able to infect you with her spores,
she thought, of course, everyone, this is just NBA players.
Control you on the genetic level, which is kind of horrifying when you think about it. But Batman, in this whole time,
like body horror, like she just like bloodbending.
Find me a weakness. And Alfred, of course, is watching this to a degree and warning him of attacks that are coming and so on and so forth. But all Batman wants here is a way to overcome Poison Ivy, because all that's happening in the here and now is essentially a war of attrition. That is Poison Ivy just constantly spawning, right? These versions of herself.
Okay, let me think. Let me cook. A weakness for plants. Fire types always be plants or something. I'm locked in Pokemon here. I never watched Pokemon.
To the point
so I'm imagining fire type.
Worn down. He'll be exhausted and he won't be able to fight anymore.
Like a taser. No, not taser. Like a shaver.
Attritions work. Just an overwhelming force taking you to the point that you just can't fight any longer.
I mean, he's using chainsaws already.
She's made of plant matter, animal matter, insect, bacteria. Which part has a vulnerability? And Alfred just says, I am looking, kid, but if there is a
chemistry lessons
to her, I am not seeing it. And that's when we get to this...
she's gonna be leaking leaks like it's the fall
origin
season.
portion of her. How
Leaking
Poison
leaks,
Ivy
not leak. My
actually
dumbass would
became
not get her brush. I would turn into a
Poison
zombie.
Ivy. And that's a crazy thing here, is because what we end
Oh,
up doing is
brother,
jumping back to
backstory.
after the fire. Now,
No,
there's
it's
a
a
little bit of a
flashback.
refresh here, right? The idea was that in the last video that we did, the last comic that came out, issue number 17, that
yeah.
Pamela Isley had basically been working on trying to find a way to grow
Yeah.
new human cells
scientist.
using a variety of plant matter, bacteria, insect DNA, the whole 9 yards. And where initially all of this was geared towards
She definitely decided to talk to her plants. Like, she would talk to them.
finding
That's like this, I'm just
a
saying.
way
She
to
gets that
cure
time
her
we would do
mother
that.
of what was effectively cancer, that once it got to the point where she started to realize that the powers that be
Womp
wanted
womp.
to take her research and weaponize it for their own purposes, she chose to walk away and focus on the research by herself. But that's when she goes to grab it, a chemical fire breaks out, and she burns to death. And so that's where you
See,
pick
fire!
up
I
with
was
this
right.
conversation
The
with her
fire!
mom. And
Traumatized
that's
that
where Poison
Bruce.
Ivy says, this is all that's left of her. That's what the
Damn.
doctors tell my mother. The chemical fire in the lab
Go, let her go. I'm sorry, bro. It's already dead. Just let it be.
reached nearly
God damn.
9,000 degrees, as hot as a young star. It's a miracle that anything at all survived.
Yeah,
they
and
say.
she wonders
And
why
yet
they
my
found her
heart
dumb.
appears
But like, I'm
perfectly
sorry, bro. We
intact.
can't avoid.
My mother asks if it's alive. They tell her no, but that's not true. I want to scream to her that I'm more alive inside this container than I've ever been,
Damn.
connected to primal
Oh, see, this is my dumbass that I keep reacting properly. That's I wish I'm such a nerd, but it means Ivy is in there. Ivy is the heart. And the mom is like, oh my god, I lost my baby. You know, it's the coincidental stats. I wouldn't fund the heart, would
forces
you?
that I do not understand yet, but can feel as colors, green and red
Heart.
and black. Now,
What?
this, to me, looks
The
like
wife.
a reference to
That sounds very
Absolutely.
self-aside.
Right now, we don't know how far-reaching Al Ewing's Green Lantern goes. We don't
What
know if the
the
emotional
fuck?
spectrum exists in the traditional way. It doesn't look
It
like it
seems like
does.
Ultimate
But
X-Men.
these are a handful of
I
the
haven't
colors
read
that we've
this. I don't know
seen
what
in
this
the
is.
Absolute Green Lantern line. But that's where she continues on. My mother turns to go, and in that moment, I hate the glass separating us more than I've ever hated anything. But
Break
not
it
just the
then.
glass. The
That's-
powerful men who put it there. The men who
Ah,
did this
it's
to me. All
metaphoric.
because I wanted to
I
go
see.
further in my research
Absolute
to do
cinema.
more. But
Sorry,
this
actually,
is what
that's
they
such a
do.
corny joke.
Those
That's
men,
right.
my enemies, our enemies, they put walls everywhere.
What about Torfin's message?
Walls of every kind.
I paused the
dividing us
video
from
for that
each other,
joke.
from nature, from truth, dividing up everything, all for profit, their own
Yeah.
tiny private kingdom. And that's one of the
Fuck
biggest
goodness.
kickers about Absolute Batman. The story of Absolute Batman is very much a reflection of how the real
Absolute
world
Joker,
works,
man.
right? Powerful people dividing up the world for their own ends.
Yeah.
Now, of course, within the context of the story, we're talking about Absolute Joker, Absolute Ra's al Ghul, effectively the Absolute Justice League, the most powerful people in the world
Absolute
who've kind of carved
Injustice
out
League, more
sections
like
of
it.
for themselves. It's one of the tales as old as time when it comes to the
Justice League? More like, see, that's my issue, right? My dumbass pauses it without having an actual joke. And I think the joke is about to pause and you have a joke. And I'm
Batman
not into
mythos,
this shit, but
it also reflects back on a lot of landmark stories that have existed over the years. Batman No Man's Land, Old Man Logan, and even what's recently been happening in Ultimate Spider-Man, right? The Illuminati carving up the world for their own individual rule. That's kind of what's going on here. And it's really cool to see these elements rolling over from different stories. And so that's where Poison Ivy continues on. I will get out. I will find a way. Ivy climbs the highest walls. As my mother
copy it.
walks away, I
How to copy
reach
it
for
works.
her. I can sense the black creeping through her. She will die.
dude, he can just swing a big axe. I'm sorry, like, what is this road gallery?
Afternoon, sitting on a bench, waiting for the bus back to the hospice. No one will notice for
Okay.
almost 3 days. When the morgue
Damn.
thaws her out, part of her will fall off. Her fingers, her breasts, her nose, like rotted fruit. But now,
that sounds
in
terrible.
this moment, I reach and reach with every
That remind me of that episode of like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You know them back to Stockman? It is one of my most delighted cartoon episodes ever. Remind me of
everything I
that.
have. And suddenly, something new grows. Something that cannot be hurt anymore.
How?
Now,
Until it
here's
meets
the
Absolute
interesting
Batman.
thing about
my
all of
heartbreaker
this,
go.
right? Here's the interesting thing about it all. We can kind of take this from two different perspectives, and depending on how you want to look at it, one of them is really, really cool. The other one kind of makes a lot more sense. Most likely, and
I'm on
what's
the cool one.
definitively happening here is she's telling this story in hindsight, right? She's literally giving us a flashback. But a part of me kind of wants to believe that we are flashing back to her, and we're experiencing this moment as it happens. And the way she's talking is in the present. And so when she makes statements,
My dumbass is what? I don't know what the fuck
this
is
is how
that.
my mother is going to die. No one's going to notice her. It almost gives this kind of precognitive feel. Now, I just want to believe
Precognition! That's like, isn't it? That's like a superpower that people have. I think I have that. Clearly not. Dumbass cat people do.
Truth to tell, because the idea of her constantly referencing the black, right? Referencing the Green Lantern mythos, it almost gives this idea that there's a kind of precognitive force that can be harnessed when it comes to absolute Green Lantern. And you can kind of roll that over into this and explain that that's the case. Again, that's almost not at all what's happening here. She's just...
Okay, so I'm not... Okay, I see. This is... I know. I'm too smart to be dumb.
But I would like to believe that the other explanation is true. Right? I think it would just kind of be fun, truth to tell. But the fact is, right, jumping back to the here and now, the fight between Poison Ivy and Batman, Poison Ivy just says, why are you fighting me, Batman?
Bro, I'm good.
We are on the same side.
It's character development, bro. 3 months of not making content.
And that's where Poison Ivy tells him, he's not here anymore. I'm afraid rare forms of bacteria can disrupt radio signals, as can some bird calls, and even dolphin songs, all of which I am admitting
Spider-Man, by the way,
if that wasn't a given. No weaknesses, just strengths. You can be so much more too. You're halfway there. You just need to embrace it. So the idea that absolute Poison Ivy is not just
it's like it's kind of hard to say no.
Right? She's a combination of virtually every form of life that exists on the planet in some fashion or another. I think
he just has cool grappling that hook mechanism. What the fuck is he fighting, bro?
She's ever been in DC Comics. But then at that point, we switch away from Poison Ivy and we jump to the character of Martha. Now,
never mind, it's a cool flashback.
Video, we learned that Martha was part of the Court of Owls. We'll talk more about them here in a second because
the Court of Owls is good here, right?
You guys called something very important with the Court of Owls. So what ends up happening is that as she's walking along, right?
Yeah, you guys, that's me too, bro. They did that shit. They said you guys,
making her way through New Mexico, she calls Bruce, and she just says,
crazy
Bruce,
how we call this
Mom, honey, I'm not sure if this message will go through, but I'm going to be out of town for a bit. There are some things that I need to take care of. Just know that you will always be my little boy, and I love you, and don't ever change for anyone. And then, of course, the call ends up cutting out. But that's when this vehicle comes flying out of nowhere. And when these two owls come out, they run off the Court of Owls nursery rhyme. And it's basically a way to kind of test whether or not you are a member of the court or have ever been a member of a court, right? We watch you at your hearth.
Cool. You know, that kid up to this skit, if you want to become a Disney worker.
Watch you in your bed. Speak not a whispered word of us, or we'll send the talon for your head. Now, the full nursery rhyme is amazing, right? Beware the Court of Owls that watches all the time, ruling Gotham from a shadowy perch behind granite and lime. They watch you at your hearth, they watch you in your bed. Speak not a whispered word of them, or they'll send the talon for your head. I love the Court of Owls in DC
I do
Comics.
too. Come on, Jenny. I really... What the fuck? Ads! This is a pre-recorded video. Where the fuck did I get ads in here? I love the Court of Owls. I really hope they adapt them in the Batman movie. I hope in the second one we see them. Because in the Penguin, there's actually Easter egg of them when he's in that courtroom.
And we can
I really hope we see them. They're so
Batman
cool.
Court of Owls story because it is amazing. It's so amazing. It's so really incredibly phenomenal, right?
Great, let's go.
We already have it, right? So I'll post a link down to it, but we can also remaster it because
the guy love it to react to that. I'm gonna react to that. I'm gonna read the comment.
Our video style has changed over the years, but the bigger point is that they basically brought back
in a pre-recorded video, my internet is ass, bro.
And so once they bring her back to their base of operations, they tell her, you knew the rules about communication and the consequences for breaking them. So why would you communicate with us, Martha? And she just says, because something is happening in Gotham right now, something that I believed was worth
Joker
the risk.
is there,
and one of the owls tells her, right, that's not your decision to make.
That's good. Maybe she could avoid
put
death
us
now,
all
please.
in danger by reaching out. And another one just asked,
what gives you the right? Your value then if you're scared of someone showing up?
Just because you were one of us. And Martha says, no, right? And this is where you guys were right. She says, I wasn't just one of you. I was a talent, the best talent. You all know what I did for the court. That's what gives me the right.
That's why
and maybe surviving was enough before, but the truth is, Batman changed that. And that's where she's told, then you can blame Batman for what's about to happen. So yeah. You guys called it in the comments section of the last video. You guys were like, I bet Martha was the Talon for the Court of Owls. There were so many people who called it. There were so many people who called it. Just like a lot of you guys were saying that in that Batman run.
I love how he looks in the costume. I know that's something I call it.
I don't know if that's true. I think it's a dope theory. I think it's an amazing theory, but I don't know how true it is. But the point is, right, jumping back to the fight between Batman and Poison Ivy, Batman starts experiencing these memories. At least that's the way that it's perceived here. Because the first scene that we get is Batman going down into the sewers where Waylon Jones is. Now, lest we forget, in issue number 16, I think it was, Batman and Absolute Wonder Woman ended up traveling to the realm of gods in order for Batman to attain an arrow that can be used by Waylon Jones to turn him back into his human self, even if only temporarily. And it would seemingly grant him the ability to shift back and forth between his normal human self and his crocodile version. But it's also the journal entries that Batman creates here, right? Where Bruce says, do not accept it. Do not let you...
that's why he's getting his ass whooped. It's an Ice Spider Lounge, right? I see. I get it.
Sound, the roar you keep hearing, echoing deep in the tunnels, it's him changing back, not becoming something worse. Because one of the things that he thought was happening down in the sewers when he went back to visit Waylon after initially leaving the arrow for him is he thought Waylon was transforming into something darker than he was before, right? Becoming like a bigger, more grotesque version of himself.
Why would he think that, bro? Like, Wonder Woman gave him that. What a pessimistic fellow. Why would he ever be this pessimistic? I don't get it.
Of what he intended had happened. He didn't know. And that's why he's telling himself that. Do not let yourself go down the path of thinking that Waylon has become something worse. The other part is the Iceberg Lounge, right? Where Oswald hangs out at. Every time Bruce goes there to try to talk to him, Oswald doesn't want to
like crawls out of this way. Can he even walk right now?
That dude is turned into Humpty Dumpty. He's actually hired henchmen to beat the tar out of Bruce every time
he's holding that
man
right now.
That from Bruce's friend's perspective, he brought all of this on their heads
bro,
when he invoked Absolute Bane. And Absolute Bane started tearing his friends apart, physically destroying them, crushing them in some way, basically turning their lives upside down and inside out. Edward Nygma won't answer the door whenever he goes to visit him. Harvey Dent has actually been
Eddie is going crazy. And I call him Eddie, but he don't know you like that. But I feel like he's gonna turn into one of the worst villains in the comic runs. I guarantee.
Loose from his job, that when Bruce shows up there to the law offices of Harvey, there's just one of the guys who's cleaning off, right, the words on the door. And he says, look, all I heard is that hanging out with the Batman has people looking at Dent differently, and all the folks that he put away, too. So now people are second guessing whether...
Oh no, vigilante. Any vigilante involved with the law is bad. When did I see Harvey with Batman? Was he ever, like, physically with him? He was with Bruce when they were planning to go kill a crime.
Or not, he did it legally. So he's called his entire career into question, which he has essentially lost. Right, it picks up with his own journal entry.
Maybe Joker gave the... maybe Joker gave the info. That would make sense.
That message, and he says...
Joker knows who he is, but that's so bad.
From Mom yesterday.
This motherfucker keeps his secret the same way Tom Holland kept the secret at MCU, bro. Everybody knows. Everybody knows.
Before it starts, deep down, I know I'm just saving it for when I need to hear.
I don't bother too much now, but like, there's no way you'd see that big of a man and don't realize, alright, that's also Batman.
But what
That guy
in
is
the
definitely
heck
that
is
man. Like,
happening
that was
to
the
me?
connection
And so
would
that's
easily
when you
make.
jump back
There we
to the
go,
fight between
finally.
himself
Hold
and
up.
Poison Ivy. And that's what makes things so wild, because Poison
Damn,
Ivy
what the
seemingly has some measure of
God,
telepathy
imagine
here.
that.
Either that
No,
or
no,
it's just her
don't,
ability to observe
shh.
everything that's happening in the city. The second
Bro.
explanation tends to be the most accurate one.
Oh,
And
no,
you'll
his
see why
mask
I
is
say
coming
that
off.
here in a second. Because she tells him, I'll take it all away, Batman.
Look how
That
you and
soft
me.
part, the pain. We are becoming one, you and
Your
me.
mother? What did
I
mom
can
do?
feel how much you are
Get out of
hurting
here.
your mother, your friends. And where Batman tells her, right, get out of my head, she says, no, join me.
Okay.
Be my knight. Together, we can beat
Oh,
them.
he's hearing
and
her
then
inside
she
his
fires
head.
plant rockets out of her hand,
Damn.
which is amazing. That's one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Batman cuts him in half with the chainsaws that he has in
Yeah,
it.
that's fully inspired by Hanami. That's true. I think that's fully inspired by Hanami. Hanami has that ability too. That's fully inspired by Hanami. That's so cool.
Batman became Chainsaw Man, but she keeps on talking, right? She
You
says,
see? Anime
"Look at you,
references,
right?
don't even
Spines
that
that
up.
stab like a cola cactus.
I don't have the logic and reasoning to say it's an anime
Wings
reference again.
that slash like an ostrich. The will of a virus. Just
What?
breathe me in, and you
She
can
really be
become
yapping,
something
doesn't she,
better."
bro?
And
Shut
seemingly
up.
he rejects it, and she says, "The stubbornness of a cockroach. Then I will drag
Wow.
you into the light." One way or another. And so she says, this city
No, you
is an
won't. Nuh-uh.
ecosystem, a living thing. You
Bro, she
introduced
yaps so
something
much.
new, something
Cut it
foreign,
out.
and now the city
Oh,
is
fire that do a
reacting.
job,
But
please.
instead of going further, you try to hold it back. Even now, looking for that weapon, the screaming gun behind you, like the ones they use in that place to separate my
Flower
cells.
girl, kid.
Stop
Did he get
denying
stabbed from?
what
Oh my
you
God, he's
want.
dead.
You wished to reshape things, just like
Bro,
I did.
she don't-
You
he don't
blew
want
the
you like
seeds
that, little
across the
sis.
city,
Leave
but
him
now
alone.
you're afraid
Serena,
of what
help.
you've sown. Well, change is coming, whether you like it or not.
Whoa,
Now,
what the-
there's two things to pick up here. Number one, again, that second explanation seems to be the accurate one.
I
The
know
very
some of you motherfuckers be watching this going, that Batman is so lucky. Like, no, bro, he's not. He's getting this so nothing you're giving about
nature
this
of
one,
Poison
bro.
Ivy
Please.
is that she's basically tied into plant life around the city. So she sees and hears everything. Everything that
Like
Bruce
Makima.
Wayne has experienced, everything that Bruce Wayne has seen. She's heard
That's
it in
oh great.
some
Another
way.
one
And
that
in fact,
knows the
she goes a little
security.
deeper
Great.
into that here in a minute.
Totally say I don't know. I'm not fucking with the
But the
defense against
second
this. But
thing is what happens in a conversation between
this is
Alfred
so cool.
Pennyworth
I actually
and
like how
his
it's so
handlers.
much fun
Because
reading
Alfred
this.
is told there's been a shift in plans, Agent Pennyworth, your new assignment. And that's where Alfred just says, I am
is it?
looking at the bloody assignment. But why? Right? I've been on Grimm for over 5 years, and now he's here in Gotham.
Why is
and
that
now
man the
you want to
talk? Look,
find me
Joker. It's
someone
him.
else.
He's doing
and
it.
he's told, yes, we want you on Batman. That is the new target.
Now, if
And
I
Alfred
refuse, talk to
is
him,
asked,
Alfred.
and
Come
if I
on.
refuse, and he's
Ooh.
told, then let's just say, no more enjoying a mere sweet tea. But in
Right.
that moment, Harley shows up here, right? The leader of the Red Hood gang. And Alfred asks the
I don't like
question,
Harley in
right?
this one.
Like,
I'ma
what
say
are
it, I
you
don't
doing
like it.
here? And she just says, I am here to help with this whole Batman thing. We all are, right? You have Dick Grayson, who just
Okay.
says, okay, tomorrow you
What?
do
What?
something about him. So again, Scott Snyder
What?
has been slowly teasing the
you mean?
introduction of Dick Grayson in the Absolute
Yeah,
Batman
well,
line. The
where you
biggest
at?
question everyone has here is he going to become Robin, or is he going to become his
Ah.
own character like
I mean, he could be like his own version of like a bootleg, absolute version of Nightwing. He doesn't have to be. I mean, he's pretty old already, right?
Nightwing? No one knows the answer to that question, right?
No,
But
he's
then we
gonna be
continue on with Bruce, right, where he's like,
Damn it, he's Robin. Oh, I know you're dumbass watching this. Good, but fucking idiot. He's stuck in 3 months ago. We already have seen Robin or some shit. But yeah,
leaving
no,
the
okay.
construction yard.
This
And
I
some of the
saw
guys are
some
like,
leaks
"Oh,
of
you know, come
Robin
on,
a
Bruce,
few
we're
months
trying
ago.
that new Batman theme
Is
bar
Robin in
on
the story
39th,
now?
right? Great big wings. And Bruce just kind of says, I smile, tell them another time. I hope they cannot see my fists shaking. I look at the sidewalk.
Wow, they're returning is just merchandise. Is that Joker too? I think a quick thing to do this. This story is just Joker, in my
200
opinion.
years old. But then that's when you jump back
I'm making
to
fun
his
of him.
conversation
Oh,
with
here-
Poison Ivy. And then we start kind of doing this back and forth between Bruce and Poison Ivy in terms of Bruce's life himself, how he sees the world around him, and what Poison Ivy tells him. Because Poison Ivy says, you can
Your
walk
head?
around with your head down, blind to it, writing in your little book, but it is happening, and they see it. Believe me, the
Genjutsu.
ones whose plans you disrupted, the ones who hate change. The worst of them is here. Of course, Absolute Joker. And she says
Joker,
their leader,
see?
their horned
making the
king,
connections,
looking
bro.
down and smiling from somewhere high above us both. And she says the tricks he
plays. Just like he just shapeshifts into like a demon from the abyss. It's not that bad.
The deals and pacts and bargains, carving up the world with his...
Right, okay, that shot right there, top... Yeah, you know what? Maybe I'm going to hear you guys out.
Minions.
In this one, maybe.
We have to stop him. I didn't think he could be stopped all those years that he kept me locked away, scrambled by the noise guns, and pulled apart.
Noise guns! You said the tasty dialogue is like talking to him. I don't give a fuck, bro. Be quiet. Use the noise.
There you were, like some wild beast running naked through my biome. And I knew if I had the chance, I would join with you.
Did you try to like kill him?
He's coming for you, just like he came for me, just like he comes for anything that threatens change.
This glaze is immaculate. Kojo subtle level glazing on me.
He's making moves as we speak, and I can feel it. And she says, maybe
okay, I get it. It's scary. God
to become what's needed, you might be able to stop him, Batman, but you are not. And she says, don't worry though, when I release these spores from this place, I will make you something new. I will make everyone new. We will be strong, beautiful, a new kingdom, and together we will stop him. And then we will make that.
Don't do this. He's not giving consent. Leave my boy alone.
Now, this is kind of a crazy scenario here, because what Poison Ivy is advocating for and what she's
crazy.
For
it's psychotic.
Is that there are some individuals out there who are so terrible, the only way to beat them is to become as bad as them. But that kind of flies in the face of the nature of Batman, right? In fact, that's Batman's whole shtick. Batman doesn't kill. And if you like the idea of the memes, he says he cherishes his no-killing rule. He doesn't care how many men, women, and children have to die in order for him to keep it. But the point is, there is such a thing as falling down to a point of no return.
I'm with that.
Now, there are
if he doesn't have a stubborn ego, he will be Batman.
I mean, look, if you kill him, you know, it's not a big deal. The Joker's an example of that, right? The Joker's just...
No, but the thing is with Batman, he wouldn't be Batman if he wasn't killing. Like, the idea of someone dressing up as a bat, going out in the night, beating up girls, it's crazy. But it is good help. Like, it is necessary in the Gotham universe. In reality, it's not. But in Gotham, it is useful. And it's necessary. So, but if you tell him, like, you have to kill now, it's just, he loses that egoistic stubbornness to keep being Batman. That's how I justify no killing.
Right? Argument after argument says the Joker's gotta go. But if we're
he
talking
does
about
gotta go.
trying to fix the city of Gotham and the people within it, right, and individuals out there who are nothing more than just power-hungry, crazy people, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to kill them. Absolute Superman's a perfect example of that, right? With the whole situation involving Ra's al Ghul, Absolute Superman could have killed him. And in fact, he considered the idea of doing it. But instead, he handed him over to the authorities. He was basically held prisoner out in Pakistan.
Oh God, what happened? I saw to the point where he was talking to us in the prison. Please don't tell me he escaped.
I think it is. And then Absolute Superman started showing up with letters written by people who had lived under the rule of Ra's. And then in reading those letters to Ra's, basically he began to change him as a person. Now, ultimately, he's going back. So maybe there is some irredeemable aspect of his character, but that story's not done, so we don't know how far that tale's going to go. The point is, people can be fixed, and that's the nature of Batman. That's what Batman believes. But this is also the absolute universe. Things are different here. Now, keep in mind, Bruce knows that Jim Gordon and his mom are touching naughty bits. They tried to hide it from him, right, because they just kind of felt like he wasn't ready for that kind of reality. But that's where Jim confronts him, right, and he says, I need to talk to you, right? And Bruce just says, no offense, but the last thing that I want to talk to you about is you and mom. And that's where Jim's just like, it's not about your mom, right? She's a grown woman, I'm a grown man, and nature is nature. But this is about you, Bruce. And Bruce is just kind of like, why is it about me? And Alfred just says, Bruce,
no, come on, another one?
And Bruce is just kind of like, what are you talking about?
Why everybody know?
And Bruce is like, oh. And I was so
I mean, to be fair, we just talked about why they know, bro. How many people have the same build as him?
The idea that Jim Gordon knows Bruce.
Honestly, it's crazy how in the canon he doesn't know. He should know.
The real question is, how long has he known? Now, Bruce doesn't ask that directly.
Maybe after, I'm gonna say, probably after the Black Mask stuff, he figured it out. Or maybe after he was taken by Bane, right? That he comes back, the Bruce is back, and the magic with Batman is back
how
too.
did
It's
you know?
pretty
He
easy
doesn't
to
really ask
connect
how
it.
long he's known. But, I mean, honestly, Jim Gordon's a detective. It wasn't that hard to figure out. He's like, you're 6
Yeah,
foot
see, exactly. That's what I
9
said.
and 400 pounds. That does not exactly blend in. And I did pull you out from a pile of bats one time. So,
Did you?
yeah,
Oh,
I figured
right,
out
yeah,
pretty
that's cute.
fast.
Yeah,
that you are
fair.
Batman. And so Bruce is like, does mom know? And Alfred's just kind of like, believe it or
No,
not,
she
I don't
does.
think so. Right? Her brain
think
is
she does.
engaged in some Olympic level gymnastics to avoid the obvious. Self-defense, I suppose. And so he asks, right, are you here to tell me to stop? And Jim Gordon asks him, do you want me to?
Bro, look at this courage house.
And Bruce
Fucking
just says
how
right
does
now,
he do
I
backflips?
don't
That
know.
don't make
And
no
he says,
sense.
he's getting so big, Mr. Gordon, I wanted Batman to affect the city, to shine a light on things. But I didn't expect this. And that's where Jim just says,
To
you didn't
light
expect him
himself.
to become the light
Oh.
himself. The
That's a
big
great
old beacon
quote.
in the sky. Now,
Ah,
this is a
that
very
sounds
important
sweet.
thing because Bruce says, the things I'm up against, it feels like to win, I have to become something tougher, meaner. And that's where Jim is like, something
I can't wait for him to meet Absolute
darker.
Villain. That would be
But
such a
here's an
nice
important thing to understand
meeting.
here, right? Within the city of Gotham, and by extension, the rest of the world, so much of it is ruled by powerful, corrupt
Yeah.
people. And so
I mean, the whole world of Absolute Universe is ruined by that, right? It's literally ruled by
the
that
average
negative
person
energy,
feels
Omega energy or
so
something.
incredibly helpless. They feel like there's nothing they can do to solve the problems within the world around them. But then suddenly Batman comes along.
Shut
and that's
up,
why
go.
he said during
That's
that
why it's
original
the
story
fucking
when
code,
he
bro.
faced off against
I got-
Absolute Bane,
I got
that it was
goosebumps.
both a literal and metaphorical David versus Goliath. Especially
Yeah?
when Bane grew
Oh my god, yeah, duh. I'm so stupid. That's very obviously that.
to
I'm
like
so dumb.
50 feet
I just
tall
realized
and
why I
probably
turned into a
like 1,200
giant.
pounds or
Yeah.
3,000 pounds or something. When he was just
Ah.
gigantic, right? Bane represents, quote unquote, the powers that be, an unstoppable force. In this instance, Bane was tangible. And so for a lot of people
how
out there
long have I been
watching that
recording?
televised fight, Batman defeating Bane was, on a metaphorical level, them cheering for
shut up.
Batman
This
and
is what
them
the rest of this.
indirectly defeating the powers that be. Batman
Yeah.
became their champion. He became the person that stood up for them in a way
Yeah,
that they
that
could
count.
not stand up for themselves. Why does that matter? Because now he's bigger than just a man. Now he's more than just one guy. It's the story of Batman.
damn, listen to me,
Batman is now
please,
a
bro.
concept, an idea. He's a thing that people believe in. And when
Yes,
that happens,
sir.
in times of desperation, people will take symbols and rise them up and then want that symbol to become the thing that can save them. And that's where Bruce is right now. Bruce is struggling with this idea.
Hey, nah, bro, no pressure. Go kill demons spawned from Satan himself. Yeah, no pressure, bro.
That all he wanted was
That's
for
literally
Batman
what
to
they
be
want
an
from him.
example of what people could do. Not necessarily becoming vigilantes, but to show you can fight back.
Not
and
become
you can
vigilantes,
fight back
fucking
in your
good
own
house,
way.
jump
I won't
kick, yeah.
necessarily go so far as to say that the people of Gotham were cowards, but I will go so far as to say he became a big symbol and people rallied around it. And now he doesn't know how to handle it. And so that's where Jim Gordon tells him, I have no real advice for you, but
Damn.
I will give you the advice that someone else gave me when I was in a similar situation.
Bro basically said, I don't know though. Avoid all
to
accountability.
yours.
You do
Someone
you, bro.
much smarter than me. It was advice given to him by his daughter, Barbara
Damn.
Gordon. And that's where, with Batman
In
being
same
held
ways.
captive by Poison Ivy, Barbara Gordon shows back up again. Keep in mind, she was originally here. And then Bruce was like, you can't be here.
Yeah,
And just
she
like
was.
threw her off down into like all the sewer water.
Big
and
bro love,
everything.
bro. Oh,
So
that's
she
so
was kinda
sweet.
pissed, to be honest with you. But Batman
Big
was
bro
also
love
trying to
says
save
Simon.
her life.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
But she says, you can
What
thank
the-
me by
Oh, right,
swearing
that was
never
the-
to pull that kind of crap again. Now,
Bastard.
SWAT is about to bust in with a dozen double augmented ultrasonic cannons. So
Oh, nice.
we need to get out of here before she
But what
figures
if they
out
turn
what's going
into
on.
zombies?
And so that's where Batman
What? She can read
the
outside.
spores are the
She can
main
see
threat
outside.
here.
She
It's
listen to them.
effectively the bomb that we need to neutralize if and
Okay.
when we decide to neutralize her.
Bro.
That's the primary problem. And
Look
so what
that
ends up
shit.
happening is Batman takes the ultrasonic cannon and
Nice, you
fires it
see? You fucked up. Fuck your Tobito Jutsu,
on
bitch.
Poison Ivy. And she asks, right, do you
This is
really
exactly
think
what he
that
was doing
sound
to
gun
him.
can
What she
destroy
was
me?
doing to him.
But
They all just
Batman
yapped
says,
him,
no.
bro.
But it shows me
Yeah, call him
what
all
I
your ears.
suspected. When you bonded
What?
with me earlier, I
Yeah.
saw Dr. Isley. You want me to evolve, but you have not gone all the way yourself.
What?
And he says, your
What
heart,
that mean?
the last
Like
piece
Pokemon?
of your human self, you kept it. The only
Oh.
part of you that was not remade. I can
Yeah.
see it right there. Destroy the spores, or I will destroy your heart. The sonic waves.
See, chicks in DC universe be hearing this. Destroy your heart. Or destroy the source, or I'll destroy your heart. And go, oh my god, he's so
will
high
disperse the
that
self.
he's trying to
You
kill you.
could regrow,
But he
but
wouldn't.
it will not be that one. The one that your mother held. It holds a special
I feel like you
place
said
for
that your mother
And so
like
that's
a
when you
slur.
jump back to this momentary bit
Oh,
of advice
such
that Jim
again.
Gordon had given to
Damn.
Bruce. And Jim Gordon says, when I became mayor, I was terrified, Bruce. I had my plan, my agenda. But suddenly, the whole...
I hear this absolute Batman, Jim Gordon, with the same character from the Batman movie, Robert Pattinson. Well, I don't know the actor's name, but I hear his voice with this absolute Jim Gordon.
city was looking to me
I hear
to
his
do
voice,
so
yeah.
much more, to be more. And the critics, they kept attacking me for being too soft, too local, too much of a people person. I was all torn up. Maybe to be a good mayor, I had to forget all the hippy-dippy stuff that your dad and mom and I loved and become something tougher, colder, and meaner. One night, Barbara, who was 16 at the time, she found me on the balcony in my robe, staring out at the city, and she said something to me. And so then you switch back to Batman.
What
and
did
he
she- what
responds
did she
directly to
say,
Poison
though?
Ivy. He says, Ivy does climb, but it also clings. It
careful,
holds on,
Bruce.
Dr. Isley. You do not want to
Damn.
lose that last piece of
Is
yourself.
that actually true? I feel like you'd say that to Ivy, she'll like,
Do
she'd be
you?
mad.
And that's where
She'd be
Jim
like, no,
Gordon utters the advice that was given to him by Barbara. And he says, a tree
Let me
grows
count down.
tallest when you care
Yes, this is why my dad doesn't love me, right? Could never come up with shit like that.
for its roots. And so seemingly what Jim Gordon is telling him here is you need to focus on the people first. They look to you as a symbol for a reason. You need to embrace that and understand that
Not
now
the people.
Batman is bigger than a man. Batman represents something. He
That,
represents the
I mean, he is bigger than a
idea
man.
that people
That's for
can
sure.
be saved. So now you are beholden to the people, and there is no escaping that, which is not a bad thing. In fact, that's a great thing. And so that's when you switch back to Batman, who's still got this ultrasonic cannon.
This is the best message of Batman. Start as a symbol of fear, symbol of vengeance, turn into a symbol
It
of
says,
hope.
destroy the
Lovely,
spores, Dr.
every
Isley,
single time.
now.
It's amazing.
Because the heart she holds that was held by her mother means more than the spores and changing the city of Gotham. And so that's where Jim Gordon leaves some parting words for Bruce and says, you have good roots, son. I know that you will make the right
talking
choice
about
when the
roots in
time
the fire of
comes.
Poison Ivy.
And so that's when
What a
these spores are
coincidence.
destroyed. Poison Ivy tells Bruce, we could have saved everyone. Everything climbed so high,
You
made
fool.
it better. You've only doomed yourself. You are just small and terrestrial and weak and human. And that's where Batman
The humiliation kick?
says,
Kitabima!
yes,
Stop!
I have been, but not anymore. And he literally
Yes,
turns on the
sir.
cannon to full
I
power
get
and
hooked.
fires it
Literally.
on Poison Ivy and blows
Now
her
she's
heart
really
apart.
hot.
And that's where Barbara just says,
My fault.
SWAT is here, right? We have to get out of
The
here
fuck's SWAT gonna
right
do,
now.
bro?
And they bail out. Now, it doesn't kill Poison Ivy. Again, she
that
can
guy die.
regrow her heart.
They're not doing
but she just
jack.
says, I will kill you, Batman, right? And just kind of defines him and labels him
yeah,
as
see
a
you
monster.
later, too.
And so in that moment, Barbara asks the question, right? She says, what
that man's
happened
a
back
monster.
there? Right? You
Okay.
destroyed her heart anyway. And Batman just says, she said to fight what's coming, I needed to evolve.
he's like, I take that mask
just
back.
took her advice. Maybe we all should. Not
Did
only
he take
that,
it?
right? You jump back
I want to see
Martha
that he
and
take
her
that. They
conversation
take a mask mic because if he did, that means they still want to
with the
communicate
court,
him on
right?
that.
And the owls say, like, I am sorry,
Bro,
Martha. We really
that
hoped
gun
you would listen
down.
to reason. And Martha just says that I'm happy to disappoint you because
standing
I
on
always
business.
believe that we owls
She
were
doesn't
never
care.
supposed to listen to reason. And where they tell her, right, like that's enough.
This family just does not know the understand the dangers of a gun, does it? The dad got stupid, they got very cut out.
She
These
says
guys,
no,
well.
right? It is not. We
Like, I
stood
can
for
kill you.
something
I
once.
understand,
We were
like,
the
you're gonna
ones
have
who
aura
fought
in this
back
meeting,
from
but
the shadows
goddamn.
against the rich and the powerful. So the owls were good guys here. They weren't bad guys like in the main DC universe. And
Okay.
she says we were warriors
I'm
fighting for a better
skeptical
world. Proud,
about that.
wise, vicious owls. And yes, they crushed us. He crushed us, referring to
Chuck it.
seemingly absolute Joker.
Chuck it,
So
yeah.
now maybe we need
Absolute
to be
glazed.
something new, but not by hiding or by changing who we are at our core. It's if that's what we are about, then you might as well
I
pull
just
the
made
trigger.
my
And
luck.
so the
Dang.
idea of Martha and the court basically being freedom fighters is huge because the final little tidbit that we get here, right?
who
We
dat?
get all these instances, right? A delivery driver goes to drop off a package to Oswald. Nigma realizes Batman's not knocking on the door. And then you get Killer Croc, right? Waylon Jones, who's reverted back into his human
What?
form. And he
Really?
just asks, right, Bruce, are you there? And Bruce isn't there.
Go
Right? Bruce
Wonder
has
Woman.
seemingly
See, that's why she's the
left
best
them
girl in
behind.
Absolute Universe.
And that's where you pick up on a rooftop where he hears the voice message from his mom, where it just says, Bruce, it's mom, honey. And he just deletes the message on the spot. So seemingly, he's becoming the darker version of himself, which really asks the question, how much more brutal can he get? But with that being said, guys,
What
we're
dark
going to bring this
appliance?
video to an end. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, drop a like.
That was awesome. Thank you, Comics Explained. Again, go watch the original video if you didn't want to hear me yet. That was great. Absolute poison. Not mommy, more like absolute poison fire. I don't know what I'm saying. I'd appreciate it much like stuff. Till next time, lighting out.